they work 4 days a day under the current contract language, regardless of a C4 or not.
Okay.
Any questions from the association?
You made the statement that you're trying to get people to come to work. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you think that if you consider this along with the wage proposal and the health proposal that you just made, you're giving people incentive to come to work?
To be honest with you, if we were to get both of those proposals together, I think we would be saving a lot of money, and probably in the next round of bargaining, we'd be in a different position to defend a proposal from the union on the pay raise.
Well, I've heard that every year since the day I started dealing with the Commonwealth for the last 18 years. When's it going to come true? You don't have to answer that question.
Now, in addition to the fact that you made a wage proposal that totals an increase of only 2% over 4 years, along with the increased health care payments that you're asking for, have you costed this out and how much this would cost a bargaining unit employee?
Well, actually, no, we didn't cost this one out specifically because this proposal has been modified multiple times.
Okay. So, in addition to the wage, if we look at the wage increase that you're proposing, if we look at the increase in health care that you're proposing, if we combine this, we're even paying these people even less, are we not? That's a safe assumption.
If they, call off more than 4 times, then yes, they would be receiving less pay. It's a pretty clear proposal.
Now, you would agree that when people call off, there's legitimate reasons why people call off, are there not?
Sure.
Okay. And potentially there could be more than 4 legitimate reasons for somebody to call off.
There could be.
I mean, there could be non-legitimate too. I mean, I'm not saying there's not. So you're going to penalize somebody whose kid is sick, or whose spouse is sick, or who themselves is sick. Is that correct?
Under this proposal, I wouldn't characterize it as a penalty.
Under this proposal, I think you're, the last CO on the building, please turn off the lights.
I don't think this proposal is like unseen in the industrial world. I believe that this concept is used outside of the Commonwealth, where people get a reduced payout for calling off sick.
That's all I have.
Anything?
Nothing further.
Anything else? All right.
Okay. Maybe we won't get this contentious with this next proposal.
Ryan, hold on. We're going to take a short 5-minute break. Okay, we're back on the record. Brian, I believe you're going to move to your next proposal.
Okay, the next proposal regarding vacation selection. Well, we want to clarify language that vacation selection will be done by bargaining unit seniority within each separate classification. And the portion of the proposal is within each separate classification. This has not been a problem. This language has been in the contract for, I want to say, at least the second contract, maybe all the way back to the first H-1 contract where they broke away from the master agreement. And we haven't had a problem up until sometime, I want to say, around 2003 to 2005, where there was an arbitration award that came out that essentially forced, the award said that you have to rank everybody in the bargaining unit, regardless of classification, in their seniority, and that's how they select their vacation. And the practice that we have done is that we've carved out the classifications. So if you're selecting vacation based on your seniority, you're selecting vacation against other correction officer ones that work your shift, okay? Because the way the vacation, the department determines, the contract language says, through a side look, that you have to provide enough vacation slots, okay, for the amount of leave each employee earns in that year. Not the bank leave that they may have accumulated over the years, but just the leave they earn that year. So then each shift will have, based on that formula, a number of vacation slots for the officers to bid on. The vacation period for January, February, March is in, I think, the end of November, and then there's another vacation selection period for the rest of the year. So when they put together the slots and people bid, they would carve them out based on classifications. CO1s would select against CO1s for food service instructors, maintenance and trade, all the different classifications, because when you're determining the number of slots of CO1s on a 6 to 2 shift, if we have maintenance off, if we have food service off, there's no impact to the operation. We can allow 8 correction officer 1s off on a 6 to 2 shift. We can allow however many food service instructors we want off based on that operation. To have them all select the same vacation slots without carving out their classification is ridiculous. And the language of the contract says that we can limit the number of people off based on an operational reason. Well, we've tried to argue that that operational reason is the classification. CO1s select against CO1s, food service instructors against food service instructors, so on and so forth. When you look at the history of the contract language, this language goes back prior to any other classification coming into the H-1 bargaining unit. So the original language was designed for correction officers, 1s and 2s. There were no food service instructors in the H-1 bargaining unit. There were no labor foremen and all these other classifications, canteen clerks and so on and so forth. They didn't come into the bargaining unit until the mid to late 80s. Okay. So we had this Dallas Arbitration Award, and then you see there's also a second exhibit, exhibit number 6, of the Fayette Arbitration Award. And what these arbitrators have basically said is that we're forced to do this because the contract signing language says you'll select by bargaining unit seniority. It doesn't say anything about carving out by classification, even though that's the way we've done it. I even want to go as far as saying that local agreements do that as well, okay, for years. So we're looking to actually clarify the language to be consistent with that so that the bargaining unit member selects their vacation within their classification.
I'm starting to see a theme here. Yesterday we heard a lot about this overtime equalization decision out of Montanoy, the arbitration award out of Montanoy that the DOC was not happy with. We just heard earlier about the bid post arbitration award that the DOC is not happy with. And now we are moving on to the Dallas and Fayette arbitration awards that the arbitrators, neutral arbitrators selected by both parties, I might add, determine what the contract language is. Is the DOC's position that they simply wish to overturn every unfavorable arbitration award that's been handed down in the past? Is that the objective here today?
No, that's not.
Because that's what it seems to be.
Well, first of all, I think with regard to the bid post proposal, I didn't say that we were proposing because we didn't like the cold flesh award, okay? We don't like the concept of bid posts. That's our proposal with regard to that.
But you would agree that the contract in regard to bid posts allows management some rights under the contract language?
Objection, we've moved on from the bid post proposal.
No, your witness actually brought it up.
I didn't bring it up. He brought it up. I just followed him.
No. Yeah.
So my question was, in regard to the bid post, and this goes in line with my question about arbitration. In the bid post language, you do have the right to deny somebody a bid post, and then they have a right to grieve it and go to arbitration, correct?
Yes,
And
it says that.
And in this particular case, 2 neutral arbitrators selected by the parties, one for SEI Dallas and one for SEI Fayette, issued unfavorable decisions to DLC, and that's what you're trying to correct here today. In regard to this proposal.
We're trying to clarify the language, yes.
That's all.
Anything from the panel?
Just one thing. Brian, so I understand, the language that these arbitrators interpreted is language that existed prior to any classification other than CO1s and 2s being covered by this provision.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
And that as new classifications were added into the H-1 unit, the parties adapted and were scheduling by classification, only to now have an arbitrator say you can't. that correct? Thank you.
What year was that added in?
That language,
Yeah.
I believe it was the very first H-1 contract,
And when was that?
1973.
And today it's 2011. Have you concluded any collective bargaining agreements with either the predecessor union or this union that were voluntarily entered into since then?
Yes.
And
If this was not an issue, okay, the first bargaining unit with Pscoa, the first bargaining agreement was negotiated. It was not done through an interest arbitration. That was the collective bargaining agreement effective July 1 of 2001. Okay, that was negotiated. And these arbitration awards have come out since then.
but at that time, you and I can both agree probably that these other classifications were in fact included within the bargaining unit.
These classifications, as I said, came into the bargaining unit in the mid to late 80s.
Okay.
So from the mid to late 80s until the Dallas Award, it had not been a problem to handle vacation selection, carving out the classifications until SCI Dallas had an issue and went to arbitration.
And you didn't seek to change the language in that voluntarily agreed to contract.
We didn't see the need to. It wasn't an issue.
Language is the language, isn't it?
Correct.
It doesn't say classification.
It says, you're right, it doesn't say classification.
Okay.
It says based on the efficiency of the operations.
That's all right.
Anything from the Commonwealth?
Nothing.
Okay. Next proposal, modify that the employer can pre-schedule holidays for employees on a Monday through Friday schedule for operational reasons. Monday will be recognized as the holiday for holidays occurring on a Sunday, and Friday for holidays occurring on a Saturday. This language is being proposed because in the Teener Interest Arbitration Award of 2006, covering the 2005 to 2008, there was a change in the language of the contract. The bargaining unit argued that they're essentially a 24/7 operation. Correctional officers work every day of the week, and whether the holiday falls on a Saturday or Sunday, it's still a work day for them, okay? And so the language was changed to indicate that the actual day of the holiday will be the holiday. Language like this, it had existed, it exists in other contracts, and it's for basically the Monday through Friday employees, okay? We're not proposing to change this for the correctional officers, okay, who are working the 7-day posts and operations. This proposal is specific to, excuse me, to the operations that actually operate Monday through Friday. For example, the labor foreman, they work Monday through Friday. They don't work Saturdays and Sundays, okay? Those shops are open, the things that they're doing, their supervisors, their first level supervisors, they all work a Monday through Friday schedule. If a holiday falls on a Saturday for them, okay, what happens is they get an 8-hour holiday banked right now to use at their discretion. They come into work on a Friday where all those other employees under other bargaining agreements and management employees within that operation are off on the holiday. And now we have a person coming in to work an operation that effectively has been shut down. So all we're asking is that the people that actually work a Monday through Friday operation observe the holiday as with the rest of the operation on either that Friday or Monday.
Any questions from the association?
This proposal in regard to the pre-scheduled holidays, this is also, is this also in response to an unfavorable arbitration decision that the DOC received?
No, it is.
This one isn't?
No.
That's all I have.
Anything from the town?
Nope.
Commonwealth?
No.
Bereavement leave. No other bargaining unit receives this free leave benefit.